Welcome to Stories from the Center of the Universe, the podcast about the human experience.
Dave Tribble, welcome to the Center of the Universe.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
I guess we should mention how you and I connected. You know my dad, and of course I know my dad. Yeah. And I'd asked my dad.
That's a good relationship.
It's a strong one. I'm his only son.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had asked him, hey, do you know any veterans?
Uh-huh.
Of course, he knows a few,
Right.
and one of the names that he brought up first was your name.
Well, thank you.
And that was right before the pandemic started.
For goodness sake.
Yeah, and so a lot of what we were doing on the podcast was remote, so all online, internet sort of thing. But we've last few months been doing a lot in person, so I'm very happy that you're able to join us. And you're from Hanover County.
Actually, I was born in Church Hill.
Okay.
Lived in the West End most of my life when I was young with TJ.
Okay.
Then went in the service and got married right before I left. And we got back, we moved to Hanover County.
Why Hanover County?
They built a subdivision out on right near Mechanicsville, old Mechanicsville.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife's parents helped us get into that and get into a house. We were living in an apartment on Carriage Hill, Glenside. Okay. When I first got back from Nome.
So things were cheaper, maybe, in that part of
Yeah,
town.
the first house was like $23,000.
What year was that?
That was, let's see, I got back in 70 from the service. Probably around 72 or so, we moved out to Meadowgate.
Okay.
Meadowgate.
Yeah, you were over there at what, 69, 70?
69, 70, in Nome. Right.
Okay, right. About the same time my dad was over there.
I didn't know him, but I've talked to him since then.
Yeah. Did you guys have any things in common that happened while you were over there?
Like I told you earlier, I listened to a little. I'm not familiar with the podcast, so I listened to a little bit today of your father's and the story he told about stretching it along a line and somebody holding on to his web gear. Well, that happened to me when I was on the Bobo Canal, and they held on to my ankle.
Oh my gosh!
And if I heard anything, I was supposed to shake my ankle. Of course, I was so scared it shook all the time. So they teased me from then on.
You were constantly alerting.
I was a new guy, so they put me on the Bobo Canal run from Vietnam to Cambodia. It's a straight shot.
Right.
And they brought down medical supplies and nurses and ammunition and soldiers. And so we would run what we called a three-man team, a killer team, killer mission. And they put me on the front all the way facing Cambodia. So I was a point man.
You were the guy.
I was a new guy on the block.
New guys get the worst jobs.
I swear. Well, you've got to pay your dues.
Yeah, so let's back up. So
when
you had free time, your parents weren't telling you what to do when you were a kid,
right?
And you weren't in school. How did you spend your time? What did you enjoy doing?
I played sports, but my mother and father divorced when I was young, 10 years old. So all the way through school, I had to work with my mother. I had a handicapped brother and another brother and a sister, and my oldest brother was severely handicapped, so required a lot of attention from my mother. She left my father, and he was abusive. So I just took care of myself. I worked before school, after school, weekends.
How old were you when you started working before school?
I started carrying papers, and then they made me into like a area manager. I'd have to get up 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and make sure the papers got out. And
most kids weren't getting up that early.
No, but it taught me some good lessons in life. The cafeterian there was Elmo Cross's wife's mother.
Okay.
Mother, Miss Sibley, and she would fix my breakfast for me when I got to school. She was a cafeterian, so I was the only one who got breakfast at school.
That's a pretty good deal.
It is. I remember to this day,
nice.
Because of that.
Go ahead.
And then I just worked at pool hall, ran the pool hall on Lakeside Avenue, and then ran one on Horse Spin on the weekends for some guys, just manage it. That's bad. Then I started doing contract driving for my mother. She worked for GMAC.
Okay.
And I'd go pick up cars, take cars back to original dealers, and that was good money. I'd hitchhike. Back then you could hitchhike.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd get paid to take a plane or train or bus or something, and I'd keep that money and just hitchhike.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I was pretty much on my own since I was about, 14, 15 years old.
Do you think that made you a better person?
It, in some ways it did. In other ways, like being part of a family and sharing time with my brothers and sisters and things like that, that was non-existent. I was working.
Yeah.
So we never were a close family. And then, but it did help me. I always had money in my pocket, so I always felt important, that I could take care of myself.
You were independent at an early age.
Yeah, exactly.
You live in the same roof with your brothers and sister?
No, one went in the Navy, and then my mother moved down to the Fan, and we moved down to the Fan. And then I went to Hill. I went to West Hampton first. Then I went to Hill, Albert Hill. Mm-hmm. And then I went to TJ. And then when I got out of TJ, I was working at a, lack of a better term back then, a beer joint.
Okay.
And that's where I met my wife, checking her IDs. And her father worked for the high school that I went to.
Okay.
So I knew the last name, and that's what started us talking.
Beer joint / pool hall?
No, the big beer joint back then was Andy's down on Gray Street.
Oh, okay.
And then Andy's son, AJ Jr., AF Jr., what do you want to call it, opened a place called AJ's Gaslight right at Laurel and Broad.
Okay.
And that's where I worked. And I actually signed up and went to the first year of John Tyler Community College down in Chester.
Okay.
The first year was open.
Wow. What year was that?
It must have been around 69, somewhere in that range.
So you graduated high school in 68?
I graduated in 67.
Okay.
I was supposed to got it in 66, but I lacked one credit. And Vietnam was going strong, so I elected to take two or three more classes and not go then.
Yeah, because if you left school,
I was a class clown. You know what I mean? I got in trouble all the time.
But one more year of school meant that you weren't eligible for the draft.
Well, I did get drafted.
But after school, right?
Well, I went down to Tyler, and then one night I was working at the AJ's, and they come running up the steps and told me they needed me downstairs, so I thought it was a fight. And I go down and they said, somebody hit your car. And I go out there and my car was up in a showroom window.
Oh, my gosh.
So it took my wheels away. And I won't go back to catch the bus to Chester. So then my mother was dating a guy that was a big shot in the Army. He got me in touch with some people at the Air National Guard, the Virginia Air National Guard band.
Right.
Of course, I couldn't play an instrument, but they said if I could play the cymbals, they could make it work. So I thought I was going to get deferred from that to go to service. But quite honestly, when they came in and wanted me to wear that pink ascot, I said, nah. So I got drafted and went in service there, 68.
How old were you when you were worried about the draft? Was it right before your 18th birthday kind of thing, or were you?
No, I never really worried about it. I just I didn't give it a lot of thought. But it was for the lottery, So I knew I was no reason not to go. I was prime choice right then. So, yeah. But I thought while I was going to school, I could get deferred. But that guy that hit my car with a '54 Cadillac with those two big black bumpers on the front. Mm-hmm. He took care of that. Mm. It was parked against the curb, so as soon as he hit it, it went up in the air and went through a window.
One single car accident
changed my whole life.
Wow.
Yep, sure did.
All right, so you get drafted. How were you notified?
Oh, Lord, I just got a piece of paper, I'm sure.
Paper in the mail?
Paper in the mail. I had to go in June of 68. went to Fort Benning, Georgia for basic training. Then I went to Fort McClellan, Alabama for AIT. And I actually won trainee of the cycle at AIT.
Class clown was the guy.
Well, I don't know how many it was, 200 or 300 people probably, but I got the award for the best recruit or whatever you want to call it. So they wanted to send me to OCS school. And if I went there, I had to re-up. And I said, no, I'm not, I'm a two-man job, two-man.
You had to add, 4 years or something like that? You had to add 4 years if you went to OCS?
For some reason, I want to say 3, but
Okay.
it might have been 4 after I got out of the OCS.
Right.
So then they shipped me to NCO school back to Fort Benning, Georgia. And I'll never forget the first day they said, is anybody here that don't want to be here? And me and my buddy from Richmond said, well, they kept us there the whole time. And right before graduation, they said, you going? So I picked up 3 or 4 friends that one of them was a state senator's son. One of them played the bagpipes. One of them was a big shot businessman's father was. Well, one of them got Tour of the Unknown Soldier. One of them got the band because he played the big bagpipes. And one of them got Korea. And yours truly got Vietnam. So
what was your MOS? What was your specialty?
Infantry.
Did you have any say in that?
No. Nope.
Wow. And so when you went back to Benning, was it to a unit or is it?
NCO school.
Okay. So that's quick.
Yeah.
So you did AIT then NCO?
I went basic training, AIT, didn't go to OCS. They cut orders for me to go to NCO school back in Fort Benning.
That's quick to NCO. Or at least by standards that I'm accustomed to from the 90s and 2000s.
Well, I always attribute it to getting the award, that they saw promise, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you had
they don't tell you anything. They just tell you where you're going.
Yeah, they just give you locations.
That's right. That's right.
And times to show up.
That's right. So I came, then I got orders to go to Nam. I came home. I had 17-day leave. And didn't know where I was going to Nam. Anything. And I stayed home about 11 days, and the girl I was dating, we eloped and got married on a Monday.
On your R&R?
On my 17-day leave before I go.
Before you left.
Before I go to Nam. So we got married on a Monday in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and I left on Sunday to go to Vietnam. I was gone a year.
And she knew you were going to be gone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And are you still with her?
I am.
Oh, my goodness. She
53 years.
That's a hard first year for
said
both of y'all.
She said it was the best year.
I know she didn't say that.
Yes, she did. She weeps when she says it, but she says that's the best year of the marriage. No, I got a good one.
Oh, that's fantastic. 53 years is a long time.
Yeah. So I'll never forget, they took me up to Dulles. We stopped at Fredericksburg to eat at the Barn at Shannon Green, and they took me up to Dulles. I got on one of those little shuttles that take you out to the plane. Mm-hmm. And I got up to the plane. They said it was going to be about an hour or so wait, so they shuttled me back, and everybody had left. So I was there sitting. I was trying to catch it, but I couldn't. So anyway, so I went over to Nam.
And you were an infantry guy.
Infantry guy. I got put in. I went to Mekong Delta. Went into Dong Tam. Went into Tan An, and I was put into what they call long range recon, LRPS.
Yep.
So I went into LRPS.
Long range recon patrol.
6-man patrol.
Yeah.
And that's my first night was Bobo Canal, shaking my ankle.
Shaking your ankle.
That's right.
First night in the field.
First night in the field. I stayed there. I was in the compound for a little while, getting acclimated to the temperature and everything.
Right.
Getting to meet the people. Getting to find out what team I was on, stuff like that. So.
What month was this?
March.
Okay.
I got married on the 24th and left on the 30th. So I got over there and went into the Lerps right sometime in April, I guess,
And were you in the field basically the rest of the time?
Yeah.
Y'all were out all the time.
In the Lerps we were. They pretty much moved the Lerps into the Ranger Regiment,
Okay.
Company E, 75th Regiment. We were attached to 9th Infantry Division. There was one company of Rangers attached to each battalion. So
Okay.
I was attached to the Cookie, the 9th Infantry.
Okay.
And once I got into that, you go to the field for a day. You're off for a day, and then you what they call RIF, which was intermediate reaction force. In other words, if a Ranger team got in trouble, we were the first team to go in, to help them.
So you were part of a Ranger unit.
Right.
Did you go to Ranger school after?
No, just all OJT.
Well, yeah, I mean that's you didn't need Ranger school after all that.
No, I mean that. I guess you pick it to pieces. I didn't go to Ranger school at Fort Benning, Georgia, but I went to Ranger school in Vietnam. So.
Yeah, Ranger school back then was what, 9 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
You did the 52-week version, or even longer.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Well, I actually got to come home one time during the 52 weeks because of Camille, the flood. So I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
But anyway, so they changed the company. I was in Company E, 75th Infantry. That's the logo on the hat.
Right. Rangers back in the day, guys in that unit, whether they had gone to Ranger school or not, what were they typically like?
Crazy. Absolutely bona fide crazy. I mean, tell you, they were dope heads. They were hard to manage. They were,
Even the Ranger Regiment back then.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. A lot of them were misfits. Some of them weren't. I don't consider myself a misfit. I just, took what they gave me. But some of the guys, some guys from Texas, guys from New York, they were, some of them got into drugs, some of them serious drugs, and some of them just marijuana. Marijuana was pretty prevalent over there.
Yeah.
I never did any drugs at all. So
You're far away from home, which I get. Some people fall prey to that, to drugs, but you're also in a very dangerous place, and you don't want to be high. I can't imagine when you're over there.
Well, I worked my way up and became a team leader. So, as a team leader, not that I never did drugs, period. No ifs and buts about it. But once I became a team leader, I figured that was more responsibility and taking care of some of the guys that did. If I found them doing it, I'd get them off the team. But some of them you can't tell whether they like that or not.
So you were in a Lerps unit, 6-man squad. Is that what you called them?
Yeah, team.
6-man team. Mm-hmm. And you ran a team.
As in the Rangers, not in the Lerps.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So in the Rangers, were you just an infantry squad?
No, 6-man team.
Okay, got it.
They just changed the connotation of what we were. Same people.
Got it.
We just got a different insignia.
Names. They changed the names.
Insignia.
Okay.
They consolidated or whatever. We had our own company area. We were the only ones that could keep ammunition in that company area. We were, you don't throw the word elite around, but we were different from the grunts or the line units.
Right.
So we had special privileges and things like that.
Long range recon. How far away from the compound would you guys go, or how far away from the grunts that could reinforce you would you go typically?
To my recollection, I never knew anything about any grunts, where they were or anything. They give us a location to be inserted and a time to be picked up, and we were supposed to go. We had 5 Americans, 1 South Vietnamese Ranger, Arvin, they called him,
Right.
And for a translator. And he pretty much guided us around. We didn't move at night. We moved during the daytime. It's not as many woods down there in the Delta. So we'd spend the nights in the rice paddies and things like that. Every once in a while, you'd have a company commander fly over and tell you to go do this, and we do. Yeah, we're doing it. We ain't moved a muscle. You didn't move at nighttime.
Right.
You just didn't do it. So the company commander he was from California. He was trying to make a name for himself.
And he wanted you guys moving at night.
Yeah.
Well, so down in the Delta, what were you doing reconnaissance on?
Well, it was a pacified area, except for the North Vietnamese would send tax collectors down and go into villages and tax the locals and take money and food and stuff like that, and then give it. They had a place called the Plain of Reeds, and they would set up in the Plain of Reeds, and they had little hospitals out there and stuff like that. So they would get medicine, stuff like that. And most of the missions we ran were, as part of the Rangers, was to go find a Pacific person. We had a picture, or Arvin knew who he was, and we'd go into town and find him.
Find him, and you wouldn't interrogate. You would just observe from a distance, kind of thing. Yeah, we'll move on from that.
Yeah.
So you said inserted. Were you ground inserted or air inserted? Or
Air
both?
inserted.
Air inserted every time.
No, when we ran missions with the SEALs, we went in by PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon boats.
Okay.
Yeah.
The SEALs were the ones running the boats down there.
They would run. We would run a mutual team. Team of Rangers, team of SEALs, and we'd go down to their ship and have dinner, which was out of this world.
They know how to eat in the Navy.
Well, they had American food.
Yeah, you weren't getting American food.
No, we had LURP rations. We had bags. We pumped water into it, But anyway, we go down there and have steaks and potatoes and stuff. So we kind of like running the missions with them, but they were crazy too. So
crazy in the same way. The Army guys?
I'd say they were a little more crazy. Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
In good ways and bad ways.
In both.
Okay.
Sometimes they were too crazy. They exposed us. Trying to do something. They were more of a hunt and seek type thing, ambush type stuff. Not going looking for one person.
They were doing movement to contact. They were trying to stir stuff up.
We would go by the boats and be put in, and then we'd monitor an area. That was where they were supposed to. Have shipments come in, stuff like that. So we'd set up in that area, and the boat would pull out and go off, and they'd set up what they call FOB, which was Forward Operational Base.
Right.
And our radio, I carried a Prick 25 radio, and my radio would go to the boat, and then they would send it back to the company area.
Okay.
So that's how we kept in touch with everybody.
This is a weird question. Have you seen the movie Apocalypse Now?
Yes.
Were the boats the same kind of boats that was in that movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it would fit 10.
And very quiet. Very quiet.
Yeah, quiet, but fit 10, 12 guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any positive memories from your time in Vietnam?
Well, I guess the biggest positive thing that helped me most of my life was I've been there, done that. And it affected me my whole life so far as appreciating things and not putting stuff off till tomorrow. I lost some good friends over there, and I went to bed next morning, they were dead. I got one guy that I play cribbage with all the time. I got up next morning. We'd have cribbage games that last a month, and he wasn't on my team, but he was one of the hippies, from California. But we just bonded.
Yeah, he was a buddy of yours.
Yeah, he's probably the closest one I was with over there.
How old was he when he passed, or when he was killed?
I don't know, but the story behind that is that, like I say, he got killed, and after I got home for a while, I went up to the wall, and I wanted to see his name on the wall, and I went up there, and I only knew him as Michael, and his last name. So I went up there and I looked it up, and it had Michael C. Boheim. And so I went to another place and looked, and it said Cory, Cory. Well, that's the name I named my son.
Oh my gosh!
And I to this day, I don't think I ever knew what his middle name was. But I named my youngest son Cory, and I think it had to do with that.
Wow.
Yeah. So then another day, I went up to the wall, and I was laying in bed with my wife, and I said, I'm going to go up to the wall. She said, you don't need to go to the wall. I'm not going. I said, I got to go. She said, you don't have to go. I said, I got to go. I got a feeling. So I went up there, and well, right before that, I'd gotten a call from a guy from Alexandria, said, you want to go up to the wall? And I said, no. He said, they're having a big ceremony up there. And I said, I can't go. He went up there, and I'm going through the airport. Well, a little bit later, several months later, there his picture was on National Geographic, pointing at the wall right there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's dead now. But Michael Fuentes, anyway, so I go up to the wall, and I'm looking at the wall, and I got my beret on, and somebody taps me on the shoulder, and it's NBC, and they want to do an interview. Of all the hundreds of people up there that day, they tapped me.
You were wearing the beret, though.
Yeah.
They knew what that was.
Well, it was a black beret, so, I mean, some of them probably did. They all got berets now, but...
They started giving those away in 2002, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, they did an interview with me, so I felt like that was the reason I was up there, so...
Could we find that interview, you think?
I don't know.
You've never looked for it?
No.
Any of your kids ever look for it?
Not that I know of.
Did they know you were interviewed?
They may have. I may have told them the story. I don't know. Like I said, I don't talk about it too much. They don't ask me the questions, but I don't watch too many war movies anymore, stuff like that. So it doesn't come up too much,
What kind of interview was it? Were they being friendly, trying to get information?
Yeah.
Just a normal interview?
Yeah. Just a perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And was it on camera?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet it's out there somewhere.
I don't know.
I'm going to find
the
it.
one you want to find is Australian NBC. I was telling myself that. Remember the movie Dirty Dozen?
Uh-huh.
When Jim Brown was running down the alleyway dropping the grenades in the manholes?
Yep.
Well, NBC came out, I think it was NBC, came out, Australian NBC, came out to the Plain of Reeds, and we found a bunch of bunkers. So they wanted me to run down the bunker line dropping concussion grenades in the bunker just like Jim Brown did. So I did it.
And they just wanted the video.
They wanted video. I got down to the last bunker. I turned and I was supposed to tell them to follow me, like, come on, let's go, or something like that. And there was a little creek right there, and I jumped over the creek. In the back, the radio hit the back of my head, almost knocked me out. They said, cut. So, yeah.
I guess you don't know if that ever got released in Australia.
I don't know. But I did another interview with Edward Bennett Williams, used to be the Redskins owner.
Okay.
He was on plane going over. I had come back because my father lost his house in the Camille. And the Red Cross got me to come home for 15 days, and then they gave me an extension for 15 days. So I came home, and then on the way back, I had to sit beside Edward Bennett Williams. So he was going over to defend somebody over there, and he wanted to know a bunch of stuff. So I did an interview with him on the plane there.
Was he a lawyer or a journalist?
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah. And
he just wanted to know for his own edification, or?
Well, he was getting acclimated to what's going on in Vietnam.
Gotcha.
It's when you kill somebody, do they take you to the room and give you a 5th degree and all that stuff, or do they just pat you on the back, or I guess he was just wanting to know how to defend the person. I think it was a colonel or something that was accused of doing something, and he just wanted to know what life was like over there, in combat.
I have to mention, I've recorded about 160 people, and you're the first one who's been interviewed by international NBC. I have also been interviewed by international NBC before I went overseas with the Army, and it was Japanese NBC.
Yeah, they had the old hand crank, and in the field with no electricity. This was in 69 or 70. So, I mean, you know.
My interview was not action-oriented like yours.
Well, mine was embarrassing. It was going so good.
You had gotten to the end.
I'd gotten to the end and took one more leap, and that was it. It didn't. Thank God it didn't knock me down or knock me out, but it came close.
Sounds like it came really close.
It came close. That prick 25 was pretty heavy.
Yeah, a lot of those the comms back then, they were all heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I came in the service, we were using pricks, and it was a lot of metal in those things.
Yeah.
When how were you notified that your dad's house was lost in Camille?
He worked for Reynolds, and Reynolds sent a letter to the Red Cross saying that because of his physical state that he couldn't do some things. It was an attempt to get me home. You know, I mean, it's a rule, whatever you want to call it, to get me home, and it worked.
It worked for 30 days anyway.
Worked for 30 days.
Did that extend your tour in Vietnam by 30 days?
No.
Okay. All right. And what did you have?
They actually, I didn't even know that they accepted it. They came and got me out of the field. I mean, I was painted up. I was in the actual field when they came and got me. A helicopter came in and said, once you get on the helicopter, you're going home. So.
Was your first thought, I'm going home? Did you think you were going home for good? Or?
No. I knew, I put two and two together. You know, that they had honored the Red Cross.
Okay. When you were over there doing missions, besides the things you were doing, that was oriented on a person, did you do other kinds of missions when you were over there? Or was it always basically that kind of mission?
We did killer missions, which was 3 or 4 teams. That were more ambush type missions. We did a day trip was called a parakeet flight. You know, we get in and come out that night, stuff like that. An eagle flight was 2 or 3 days. We go out and monitor a certain part of a city, a hooch or something, or a line of hooches, and see if we could see some activity there. And the thing about being in the Rangers over there was if we got into contact, no matter who came or what rank they had, I was still in charge. I was on the ground, and they were in support of me. So I didn't have anybody coming in and telling me what to do. And, you know, I mean, if they did, I just tell them, you know, what.
Pack sand.
Yeah. So that was good. You know, we carried a lot of firepower in a 6-man team. A lot of firepower.
A couple M60s kind of thing?
We had one M60 per team. We all had, I carried what they call a Car 15 with a M79 grenade launcher under it. Others had sniper rifles. We all had handguns. We had knives. We had, you know, some of them had just strictly M79s, grenade launcher. You know, it's like a shotgun by itself. You know,
right.
So we had plenty of firepower. So, and then we'd run stay behind missions, which was if the Ranger team got in contact and in a firefight, and let's say hypothetically they would get low on ammo, they would make a big scene and come in and get us out, and in the meantime they would insert another Ranger team right behind us, and they would low key it to see if the people would come out. You know?
Right.
So we call that a stay behind.
That's a unique thing.
Yeah. So you know, I never lost an American. I lost one Vietnamese. I had an American get shot pretty bad, but he didn't die. So, I mean, I had a pretty good record, you know.
I mean, you were seeing some stuff over there, and you were involved in some stuff, and to only lose one guy, that's...
Yeah, he was actually the old team leader, and he wanted to go to field one more time.
Oh, my gosh.
It was his birthday.
And he just got shot up.
And I wouldn't let him go, and the company commander from California... We had
Hollywood, y'all probably called him.
He wasn't. He didn't look like an actor. I'll tell you that. Little Papa Smurf or something. But anyway, he wanted. We had 2 Arvins that night, and he thought me trying to handle 2 Arvins and the team was a little much. So he overruled me and said, Ralph can go to the field on his birthday.
Because Ralph wanted to go on his birthday
He wanted to go on his birthday. He was getting ready to go home.
But not me. If I'm Ralph, I'm not doing that. I'm happy that I'd done my last one.
He was from Gladstone, Virginia. And he got shot. And he got shot up pretty bad. His arm got pretty much shot away. And he had a terrible life after that. Drinking, stuff like that. And finally took his own life.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. I don't know, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, most people that haven't been in combat like you have just don't understand the mental and emotional challenges that come with it. The physical stuff's hard enough, but
Well, I would go up to Gladstone to visit the other guy who was a sheriff up there, and I would go up visit him, and I'd go try to find Ralph and just talk to him because I was there the night he got shot.
yeah,
He had absolutely nothing to do with me.
really,
Yeah.
So he was in a bad way.
And he had married the sheriff's sister, and they got a divorce. So, but both of them have died now, so they're gone. In fact, I got a director the other day of the Rangers, and there's only like 2 of us left. That didn't die over there, but have come home and died. So
Only 2 of you
from Virginia.
From how many folks total are we talking?
There was 8 of us from Virginia.
Yeah.
And then 43 Rangers. So we had a big say-so in the 43 Rangers.
Yeah,
Virginia did.
right. Good.
Yeah.
Well, so I imagine that sounds like you got some rest in the middle there with Camille and going home for 30 days.
Right.
But when you were over there and you'd been out in the field a bunch, you probably had never considered how tired a human being could get. Were you just bone tired most of the time?
Well, I got hepatitis, so I had to go to the hospital. And they thought I had worms, so they gave me some medicine to void me to see if I had worms. And so I was tired a lot after that. They probably took me out of the field about a month early. Put me up as a FOB on the boat. I ran the FOB, the forward operational base, off the boat.
Right.
And in the last 30 days, I didn't do anything before I come home. So.
Was that intentional so you could start to readjust to normal society?
I think if you're getting ready to come home, you fight different. You don't. You're coming home. I don't think it's. I think it's a judgment call on the superior officers that I don't want a guy out there knowing he's getting ready to come home and with other people that are not going to be coming home. Scheduled to come home. So,
right.
That's what I always thought it was. I just thought it was somewhat of a safety type thing.
Yeah. That's as good a theory as any.
Yeah. I don't know there was a written rule, but it just seemed like when you got down within 30 days, they called you short.
Yeah.
And if you were short, you didn't go to the field. So they put me on the FOB thing, which I was happy.
Yeah. You didn't mind?
Well, until one night I got off the boat. Dumb thing, see. We pulled into the land. It pulled up just about to the land. I was still 3 or 4 feet from the land, and there was a guy running across the field. So I told him to give me the sniper rifle. So I got off the boat, pulled the John Wayne, put the M14 up in my arms and waded through the water and got up on land, and I was going to shoot the guy. And when I crawled up there, I looked up and there was a big old, looked like a cookie can. The big one.
Like a tin, like a metal tin.
Metal, round tin.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what it was. It was a bomb.
Oh my goodness.
They put glass and nails and they put the explosives behind it, and then they detonate it from somewhere else.
Like a command detonation sort of
right,
thing. Yeah.
Right, by wire, but not by phone or nothing, by wire. And I knew exactly what it was, and there I was. It was probably like 5 inches from my face.
And they didn't know that you were there?
Well, I'm hoping that was the guy that was running away. But I backed on up, got on the boat.
Oh, I'd back up as quick as I could.
I did that. I let the water clean up my pants first a little bit.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
I was scared.
Anybody in their right mind would be.
I thought that was it. And I remember thinking, I said, you dumb, you know what? I said, why did you do this, you know?
That was the last time you
That's the last time I pulled any John Wayne.
Yeah. Yeah, shorts. That 30-day thing, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you came back home, I imagine the trip back home, you were looking forward to just being back in Virginia and getting on with your life, or did you have more time in the service when you got back?
No, I actually got back to San Francisco, and because I had less than 5 months left, I got de-roased out. And I flew from San Francisco to Byrd Airport, got off the plane, went into the terminal, and then it hit me. I didn't know where I lived.
Wow.
We had never lived together.
You didn't have a home to go to.
I didn't know where it was. I sat at the airport for 2 or 3 hours trying to find somebody who knew where I lived.
Well, so when you say where you lived,
my wife
your wife had a place.
No,
Yeah.
she was living with her parents, but she got an apartment while I was gone and was putting furniture in it and all, you know. And I was home a couple weeks early, you know, because of Reagan or whatever, Nixon or whoever it was. So she didn't know I was coming. But over there, she didn't give me the address. I didn't need the address, you know. Back then, the cassette was the big. You didn't do a lot of mail. You did a lot of cassette sending. They first came out with cassettes.
Okay.
And I did the cassettes, and one side was for the family, one side was for her and I. And she never gave me the address, so I called everybody. I called my mother, everybody. Finally, I got my mother, and she told me she knew where it was, so she come pick me up and went over there. She was at the apartment.
What part of town was that in?
Carriage Hill on not Dickens Road, but the next one over, Glenside.
Okay.
On
Just there
Glenside.
in West End.
West End.
What used to be the normal West End.
Right.
But now it's like the near West End kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Glenside apartment, not Glenside, Carriage Hill apartments.
Did people that you ran into when you came back, did they know you were a Vietnam veteran? Or not really?
I didn't really run around with anybody. Of course, my mother knew, but I told my wife. I didn't tell my wife I was in the Rangers. I told her I was doing a typewriter.
When did she learn that you had been in the Rangers?
I don't know.
At some point she found out.
Yeah. Well, I got some medals while I was over there, so I brought them home, you know, and she saw them. And
That got the cat out of the bag. Typewriter guys are not winning those ribbons.
Right. So, anyway, so
you put her mind at ease while you were gone.
I'm proud of what I did.
As you should be.
I did.
You absolutely should be proud of it. So you didn't get any flack when you came back.
Oh no, I wouldn't have listened to it anyway.
Yeah,
You're talking about the sentiment of the country? And
Yeah,
all?
yeah,
No, I didn't. I didn't want to go over there. I'm glad I did, and I learned what I learned, and I know what I did and could do. And but I mean, she was working for Reynolds, and I went to a couple jobs trying to. I had an attitude, you know. I won't go take no crap off nobody here, you know.
Right.
I did. So I went back to the power company, and I said, they didn't want to give me my raises while I was gone and all, and I thought they were supposed to. So
They are supposed to.
And I said, well, I'm not coming back. And then I went to work for a grocery store because I'd done that some while I was in school, and they wanted me to work night crew, and I said, man, I've been gone a year.
I've been doing some hard stuff in the last year.
I said, they wanted me to go to another store and work a couple of weeks night crew. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do 1 week. I said, have a heart, man. I've been gone, you know, from my wife for a year. And you don't understand. You got to go. I said, no, you don't understand. Here's my stamp. Here's my apron. I'm gone. So then I went to work for Pepsi Cola doing those little certain machines that when you had pick fairs and things. And my father-in-law said, "Wait a minute, they weren't happy about her marrying me anyway." Said, "You'd have had 3 jobs and you'd have lost all 3. What kind of son-in-law I got?" He said, "You're going to get a trade." So he called some people, got me into the apprenticeship program, and the rest
That was a really good move.
Turned out pretty good.
And why electrician? Why'd you choose that path?
He knew the guy that, he worked for the city of Richmond. He was maintenance at TJ.
Okay.
And he knew some people, and he knew this guy's name. And he called him and said, my son-in-law's back from Nam. Can you make a place for him in apprenticeship? That was 1970.
Okay.
So.
And it worked out because you did it the rest of your career, right?
I did.
Yeah, and you ended up starting your own business.
Not really. I went through the apprenticeship, and then I went to work for a company that moved from Charlotte. There was a national company that moved from Charlotte to Richmond to the Federal Reserve Bank downtown. And that was probably 72, 73. And then again in 74, 75. By 1980, I owned that company.
So walk me through that. How do you go from a guy that's doing the work you were doing to ended up owning the company?
The right place at the right time. The guy that they had a branch manager here. He quit. The assistant branch manager quit to go in business for himself. The branch manager quit to go work up in Washington for Foley, which was the biggest contractor in the world at that time. And that left me, besides the people in the field.
Right.
So the guys from Alabama came up here and said, met me at the airport, sat in the car. I was worried about people we'd been in the car. And said that we had just started a big contract job, and said, if you need anything, call us. You be the one to call us. So they got on a plane and left. I made business cards, said branch manager.
So were you like you were essentially an entrepreneur running your own?
I ran it for them for 7 years. And then I bought, when Mr. Bagby died, I went down there and bought the branch.
And that became its own company at that point.
Became Bagby Electric of Virginia.
Okay.
That was the only thing the family wanted, was put the of Virginia on.
And you kept the name because...
I kept the name for national recognition, because a lot of contractors come to Richmond were from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, New York. I mean, they knew the Bagby. There was like 20 branches of Bagby. At first, they offered me to go to Mobile and run the whole company, and I said, I'm not going to Mobile. My kids,
That would have been a huge job too, right?
Yeah, but that didn't appeal to me to move to Mobile. So I bought the branch, and that was in '87. And then 10 years ago, next month, I sold it to the boys. So they've been running it for 10 years.
And these are your sons?
They're sons.
Okay. How many sons do you have?
3.
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them work over there.
Okay.
And
nice.
Cory lives in the neighborhood here.
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah.
That's what did you enjoy about having your own company?
Control.
Yeah.
I've always, which affected me later in my life, I always had control of everything from when I was a little boy all the way.
You were independent from a young age.
I was in control, not just independent. I was in control. I mean, nobody. My wife says I'm hard-headed as I can be. So Then I got. I had a blood vessel pop in my ear. Something, I got tinnitus really bad, and it was really bad, and so I became ineffective at the business. I got claustrophobic. Went to all the doctors, UVA, everywhere. There's nothing they could do for it. And finally, a psychiatrist told me, he said, well, the problem is that you can't control it. He said, for the first time in your life, you can't control something. He said, you're fighting it like a devil. And he said, you got to give up on it. So that helped me. And another guy in town, Eddie Eck, that owned a lot of VCU, all those multicolored property.
Yep.
Eck, he had it real bad. He talked to me some.
Is he still around?
No, he died. He
Yeah.
died.
I think I went to school with his sons.
EC?
EC's a couple years older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, EC and I played a lot of golf together.
Yeah.
A lot of golf.
Is he still in town?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he sold the business, but they had so much real estate. See, his uncle, Eddie's brother, was my lawyer, Frank. He was my
Okay.
lawyer for a while. And then, it was just all intertwined.
Right.
But I surrounded myself with good people, good electricians, good office staff, and let them do their job.
Yeah.
So I had
Control what you need to and let them do their job otherwise.
right.
What did you not like about it?
That's a good question. I never really thought about that. I became real good friends with some of the people, that worked for me. And when I had to make decisions that affected their life or their family,
It's tough.
I didn't look forward to that. And then I had some people stealing from me. I had to do something with them, and they've been with me 30 years.
30 years and they're stealing from you.
Right. And so, I saw him not long ago, and I went over to him, and I said, his daughter had died. And I said, I could see it in their face when I started walking over there. His wife saw me first, and I knew they thought I was going to raise holy heck, And I said, I'm here to offer my condolences for your daughter. I said, that transcends anything else as far as I'm concerned. And I walked away.
Yeah.
And but after 30 years, I found out he was stealing copper wire from me. So, and he knew it.
Yeah.
He said he messed up.
He knew what he did was
Yeah,
wrong.
and it was a lot of money.
A lot of money, I can imagine.
Yeah, we were doing big work.
Now, you're doing commercial
Yeah,
work.
no residential.
Yeah, so how big was the biggest building that you wired, your company wired?
Well, the company wired Federal Reserve Bank, which is the second largest building in the state of Virginia.
Is it really?
Federal Reserve Bank downtown.
Okay, downtown. Yeah.
Yeah, on the river.
Y'all wired that whole thing?
Yeah, back in 1975. That's when I went to work for them.
Okay.
There's as much area below ground as above ground.
Really?
It's the second. The Pentagon is the largest. That Federal Reserve Bank is the second largest in the state of Virginia.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And to think the second largest is in Richmond and not up in Arlington or Alexandria.
Well, that was what it was years ago. I don't know what they built since then.
Yeah, it's still probably top 10, top 15, I'm guessing.
At the time, that's what the claim to fame was. It was the second. Only the Pentagon was bigger, more space in the building.
What do you like about Central Virginia? You've been here most of your life.
I like the change in seasons. I hunted some with my daddy before he died. I had a place on the river most of my life, 50-some years. Had boats and jet skis and the kids, and we spent a lot of time together, and I played a lot of golf. That's about all I do now is play golf.
That's a good thing. Keeps you moving, right?
I love it. I love it.
Where do you play most of the time?
I'm playing up at Hanover.
Okay.
And playing down Tappahannock, where I had a house. I got some friends there. I still drive. I sold my house last year, but
You sold your river place?
yeah,
Right there on the Rappahannock there.
right.
Yeah.
Dunsville, down in Dunsville.
Okay.
Near Tappahannock.
Yeah.
And
It's beautiful there.
I had 3 acres right on the water.
Oh, my goodness.
Big house. But
Wish I knew you a year ago. I might have talked to you about that place.
a guy rolled in there and wrote me a check,
Cash money, huh?
and I couldn't get no out of my mouth.
It's kind of hard to get no out of your mouth on that deal. it sounds
Let
like.
me tell you an anecdote about your daddy.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to get you off track here, but the reason your daddy and I know each other is I told him a lawyer joke. I know he ain't never told you.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
Lawyer gets on the airplane, sits down beside a redneck farmer.
Okay.
Plane takes off. Lawyer leans over to the redneck farmer and says, you want to play a game? The redneck farmer says, nah, I just want to go home. I got pigs to feed. And, Lawyer kept at him. Finally, the farmer said, okay, I'll play you a silly game. What is it? The lawyer said, well, I'm going to ask you a question. And if you can't answer it, you got to give me $5. He said, but to be fair, I'm an attorney. If you ask me a question, you get to ask me a question. If I can't answer it, I'll give you $50. He told the farmer, go ahead. The farmer said, what walks on 2 legs in the morning, 3 legs in the afternoon, and 4 legs at night? The lawyer thinking for a minute, he scratches his head. He can't reach under the seat, pulls out his laptop, starts Googling it, calls his law professors, calls all his lawyer friends, everything. Finally closes the laptop. He says, pulls a $50 bill out of his pocket, hands it to the redneck farmer, and he says, you got me. He says, here's your $50. The old farmer says, thank you, puts it in his pocket, starts looking at the window of the airplane. The lawyer said, wait a minute. He said, what does walk on 2 legs in the morning, 3 legs in the afternoon, and 4 legs at night? The farmer looked at him and said, damn if I know, here's your 5.
The farmer's got a lot more common sense than the lawyer.
Your daddy loved that joke. He said he told it to everybody he knew. He loved it. Every time I come into the breakfast place, tell them that joke you just told me.
That's a really good joke.
Yeah. A lot of truth in it.
Yeah, a ton of truth in it.
All right, I'm sorry. I had to get that out because I wanted to tell you about that tonight.
No, that's a good one. I like that. There aren't enough lawyer jokes out there.
No, too many lawyers. Not enough jokes going around.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of running your own company?
Working with the generals and the other subs. A lot of times they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and they created hardships on us, because we had to follow certain other trades.
Right.
I couldn't put receptacles in the wall in an office building if there wasn't a wall there.
Right.
I couldn't put lights in the ceiling if there wasn't no ceiling there. I mean, and the generals just, some of them were good, some of them weren't as good.
The good ones aren't wasting your time. The bad ones are wasting your time.
The good ones kept it on schedule.
Yeah.
And the other ones, and there's plenty of them, were more concerned with making a good showing in front of the owners and, this is what I'm doing and I'm having trouble with this sub. So, and then they want me to work overtime, not pay me to, stuff like that. Just constant. I did the Coliseum downtown when that was built.
Oh, really?
Richmond Coliseum. And I ended up having to go to court over that. And, even the general had to say we did a great job.
Yeah.
But I sued for $300,000. I got 28.
And who was the other party? Was it the city of Richmond?
It was City of Richmond and Marriott.
Marriott built the Richmond Coliseum.
They were the link between the city and everything.
Yeah.
They hired a minority contractor from Philadelphia, and it was way out of his league.
Yeah.
But anyway, city money, city judge.
Yeah.
I sued for $300, got 28, and I had to give a lawyer a third of that.
You got less than 10% and a whole lot less than 10% after the lawyer got paid.
Yeah. So I learned my lesson.
All right. There's a question we ask most of our guests towards the end, and imagine you are a talk show host. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's a one show only, lasts for about an hour. You get to invite 3 guests. And they can be alive or dead. They can be somebody you know or knew or not. They can be famous or not famous. Your show can be entertaining. It can be thought-provoking. It's whatever you want it to be. You can have 1 male guest, 1 female guest, and 1 musical guest. Who are your 3 guests?
I wish you'd written down before I got here.
It's meant to be spur of the moment and thought-provoking a little bit. It kind of gives everybody a sense of who you are a little bit, other than the stuff we've talked about.
Well, I wish that I could interview the guys from Vietnam that died, because here they were in Virginia and I didn't go see them, or they didn't come see me. And I did for a while, but after that, we just grew apart. So I would like to see them again,
Yeah.
just talk about the old times. I had one from the sheriff from Livingston, John Dixon. He kind of took me under his wing and made sure I stayed safe a lot. I was he lived a good life, but I didn't see him as much as I should have, and I'd like to see him again. Michael Volheim I'd like to see again, because he was a hippie with the beads and the long hair, and he did the weed and all that
But
stuff.
you guys, you were compatible.
Cribbage was supreme. Cribbage was supreme. For a woman, no, I can't think of anybody except my wife.
Okay.
I just hope she stays with me, and we ride off the sunset together. You know?
Right on.
Yeah, I got a good wife, and she's a good mother. My kids, good grandmother. We got 9 grandchildren,
Oh my gosh.
and she's put up with a lot with me.
First year of marriage, you're going to Vietnam.
Yeah. She says that's the best year of marriage. So I just I hope we have some more years together. So far as a musical guest, that's a good one. No, more of a movie star than a musical guest.
Okay, you can go movie star.
I would have liked to meet John Wayne.
He was he definitely gave the impression to the world that he was the guy.
I liked his movies. I liked his way he carried himself in the movies. He was right, not too much wrong. You very seldom saw him as a bad guy. I'm sure there was some movies, but I don't know of any. But he seemed to have right and wrong figured out.
Yeah, and his movies were definitely trying to portray that.
Yeah, I go back to movies like The High and the Mighty, the theme song. I play it all the time. It wasn't that good a movie, but that theme song stuck with me for years and years and years.
I'm not familiar. Is that like a symphony or an orchestra kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, maybe your musical guest could be that symphony.
High and the Mighty, the movie.
Okay.
I got 3 Bronze Stars with valor, 2 Army Commendations with valor, the Purple Heart, Air Medals.
You have 3 Bronze Stars with V devices.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Bronze Stars with V devices.
I got shot 3 times. None of them broke skin.
How is that possible?
The night Ralph got shot, I wore Russian web gear, which covered my chest. My long magazines went down in my slots. I didn't wear American web gear. I wore Russian web gear.
How did you even know about Russian web gear?
Some of the guys had it.
Okay.
And, it was some people from all over the world in the Rangers, in that area and stuff like that. So
Right.
as soon as I saw that they protected your chest, I wanted one. And then...
it sounds like it was a good move.
Yeah. We went into villages. Everything I had a silencer on it,
Everything.
except my 12-gauge shotgun.
Yeah, it's hard to silence one of those. Yeah.
So when we go in villages trying to find a particular person, I carry 12-gauge and stuff like that. Other times I'd carry a sniper rifle with silencers. My pistol had a silencer. Stuff like it's in close fighting type.
But you were struck by 3 rounds.
I got struck. It knocked me around. The night we got shot, we were watching a funeral, and we cardinal sin. We got up to try to move in closer, and they ambushed us. And the first guy got shot 9 times. The second guy got shot in both lungs, leg. Ralph got shot in his arm. I got hit with a bullet in my chest, knocked me around. Next bullet hit my radio. And then the other bullet, I had a grenade on my belt and that got shot off. And we called for evac. And they brought in another ranger team. I stayed on the ground to help them, And they took all my people out, and I stayed there. I got a bronze star for that. Well, you know what they tell you, you're the best fighting soldier in the world.
They pump you up, right?
Oh, yeah. And then you go away and people have been fighting for 100 years.
Yeah.
And then you're in their country and you go tear them up.
And they're not wearing the uniform that you expect them to wear.
No, in the daytime, they're exterminating and they're pacing the buildings off in your compound, and at night the shells are coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, who can't figure that out?
Right.
And then it got to the point where you couldn't fire unless you were fired on. You know, we sit there with a starlight scope and watch them setting up the rockets. You couldn't shoot at them. I mean, it's stupid.
That's dumb.
You know, and here come the rockets. Then you could shoot. I mean, it's just.
That doesn't make any sense.
I was glad to get out of there.
I can imagine.
It's like fighting with one hand behind your back.
Yeah, it's not the way to fight.
No.
Well, let's transition to your family. 9 grandkids, a lot of grandkids. How old's the oldest one?
Oldest one's 22, 23.
Okay, and the youngest?
4.
Okay, that's a good range. That's a fun range for Grandpa.
Yeah. 7 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
Cory lives in here, has 4. My son lives down at King and Queen. He has 3. And then my son lives in Country Club Hills. He has 2.
Okay.
They're the 2 youngest.
What are your sons' names?
David Jr., Kevin, and Cory.
I knew the third one. I knew the youngest.
The youngest.
Based on the story you told.
Yeah.
And they're all working for Bagby Electric of Virginia.
Right.
All right, tell me about your wife. You told me how you met, but tell me a little bit more about her.
I checked her ID at the beer joint and told her I knew her daddy, and she was dating somebody, and we kind of, I don't know, I think she said her girlfriends liked her. Her girlfriends liked me more than she did, so I think she kind of had a date with me just to prove to them that that's what she said. I don't know. But anyway, we dated for a couple of years, and then, like I said, I got orders to go to Nam, and I don't know to this day why we did it, but it sure worked out.
How long had y'all been seeing each other before you went over?
A couple of years.
Okay.
We met on Valentine's Day in '67. I was still in school. She'd finished school in '66, see, and then I came home. I got drafted and went to service, and then like I said, she stayed here, and I came home on that leave, and we look back and say, why did we do it? Why did we do it? And you say, so it doesn't matter, we did it, so you can't undo it, But it turned out to be the best thing in my life.
3 sons and 9 grandkids later.
Yeah.
And 53 years of marriage.
And I want to say something. I got 3 really good sons. I have been blessed with 3 really good sons, good humans, good fathers, good husbands. I mean, I don't have any worry whatsoever about their life. And they're doing good. I don't have to worry about that. So I can play golf.
You are. It sounds like you were a very good dad, and you're fortunate that your sons ended up.
I was probably a better dad when they were young than I am now. I've kind of regressed a little bit on being a dad. I don't spend as much time with them probably as I should, but after doing all I did, running the business and looking out for everybody and all this, I call this my quality time.
It's your time.
It's they got their own lives. They don't need me call them every day and going over there and tell them what they should do and shouldn't do. The youngest, Cory's 48.
He's old enough.
Cory's, 45. Kevin's 48, and David's 51. So
they're all old enough.
They're all old enough. They got their own families, their own life. So if they call me, I'll come running. But other than that, I don't. I would say I'm not as good at dad now as I probably could be. But
no, I think you're probably just right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know how. I never had kids that old before.
Yeah, right. Every day's a new day,
That's
right?
exactly right. Exactly right. It's no pamphlet for that.
No, yeah. What makes life fun?
Well, I have been blessed my whole life. Ever since that day I got shot and not killed, everything has been good for me. It just, even my sons say so. They say, Dad, I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I mean, rising the rank of the business, and did pretty good, and keep my marriage together the whole time. It's been.
What's your wife's name?
Betty.
Betty. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Betty sounds like a heck of a woman, and she's sounds like she's got a good sense of humor too.
Sometimes. Sometimes. No, she's a religious woman. She's right with me. She's right with me.
Right on.
Yeah. Loves her kids.
Good grandma and good mom, sounds like.
Yeah.
Y'all spoil the grandkids?
No, I wouldn't say that. They came down the river some, and we spoiled them down there. We had jet skis for them, and boating and skiing and stuff like that. But now they got their own places, and each one of them is different towards the kids. Cory had 2 kids, and he went for a third one, and he said he went for a 3-pointer and got fouled, and he had twins. So that's why he's got 4. And they're just good daddies. When you're around them, you see a lot of love.
Yeah.
And I heard one of the boys tell his wife that she's the best mother, stuff like that. I mean, I didn't have that when I was coming up.
You didn't have any of that,
No,
sounds like.
I had no family life. And see, that's another thing I worried about during my life was how I would handle myself as a family person, because I didn't have that.
Well, sounds like you did fantastically
well. They all play sports. The only way I showed them was I'd go to the sports and the practices. And
it's important.
Yeah. And they all, Cory played all 3 sports. David played football, and Kevin played some baseball. And, Cory he was quarterback at Atlee and stuff like that. I mean, he's a real good golfer. I mean, he's a good athlete. But after they got older and got married and all, I could see I told him, I said, when I sold the business, I said, what do you mean you're not coming back over here anymore? I said, you don't need me. I said, why should I come over there and sit there and bother you?
Yeah.
You don't need me. And that was 10 years ago.
And you do like playing golf.
I love it. I wish I was better, but if I was better, I'd probably take it more serious. Well, I like the camaraderie. I like the people.
Camaraderie's great. Is there anything about the sport itself that you really like?
When I was young, I played a lot of sports, but when I didn't start golf till I was 35, and I found it to be the only sport I played that I completely got my mind off everything else. Business, family, everything. When I was on that, trying to hit that ball and play that golf, was nothing else, because it's an individual sport.
Right.
And you got people watching you the whole time. You can't cheat. You can't. I mean, if you do, you got to call it. I mean, it's just a gentleman's game.
Right.
And it just took me. That was my drug or alcohol or what. I got my mind completely off everything. So that needed that. And now I'm just eat up with it. I'm just totally eat up.
And it's funny because you didn't start till you were 35.
Right. They invited me to go on a trip to Myrtle Beach. I said, I don't even play golf. And they said, do you drink? And I said, yeah. I don't drink anymore, but I did then. Well, we're going to have a good time. Come on. So I went down there. Fortunately, the guy playing with me had never played either, too. So
you needed him.
We needed him. He's from Ashley. He's passed away now. But anyway, so that Christmas, my employees gave me a set of clubs in a bag and all that for Christmas.
Okay, nice.
I was hooked from then on.
You remember your best round?
68.
Whoo! Come on now.
Yep. 68 down at Hobbs Hole, top area.
Yeah, I played at Hobbs Hole. 68, the par was what, 71, 72?
71.
Were you typically in the high 60s,
No.
low 70s?
No, I had 7 birdies.
Just lightning in a bottle that day.
I still got the scorecard.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have good days and bad days, I have bad knees now, so I got to get my knees replaced. So I'm a lot of arm action, not body action.
Right.
That hurts me. But,
Not hitting it as far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I played up tees, so I counteract that by moving up.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, senior tees.
You earned those tees. Yeah.
I'm 74, so I play 3 days a week at least.
That's a lot of golf. That is a lot of golf. I wish I played more. It's a fun sport. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I belonged to some nice clubs during my course of my life, and now I just play Hanover and Hobbs Hall. I don't pay that big money anymore. I belong to one course. It costs you a lot to join it. It costs you a lot to be a member, and then every time you played, it was $100 for the caddy. I said, I'm retired now. Let me think about this.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah. But I met business people. So.
What was the best course you ever played?
Well, the best course I ever played.
Sounds like you played a lot of them.
To be corny, I'd say the last one. But I've been to Pebble Beach. I didn't play it. I played over in Europe. I played in Scotland. I've played up at Pennsylvania, Marion, with Ed EC.
Okay.
He took me up here for 2 days.
Nice.
And you want a quick story about that?
Sure.
EC calls me, and I think he had some going to St. Christopher's, a collegiate or somebody.
Okay.
He bought a blind auction, and it was 2 rounds at Marion, or 4 rounds. He called me, he said, I'm going to get a plane, we're going to fly up there, and everything's paid for. I was his customer,
Right.
So we go up there, and we play golf at Marion. They got the wicker baskets instead of the flags. Where Ben Hogan hit that famous shot that people line. So I go down there, and I got this caddy named Scott. And for some reason, I just made every putt I could make. I made every putt. So at the end of the 18 holes, Scott comes over to me and he says, Mr. Tribble, he said, are you going to play another 18? And I said, yeah. He said, you going to go have something to eat? I said, yeah. He said, well, if I were you, I'd take that putter with you. He said, I've never seen anybody come to Marion and putt like you did. He said, I've never seen it.
Because the greens are fast?
They're just fast and reading them. And I mean, if they were 10, 12 feet, I was draining them. I mean, I don't know why, but I was. So I go in there and I have a beer and a cheeseburger with EC. We come back out. Oh, before we go in, he says, oh, Mr. Tribble, he said, no big deal. He said, but my name ain't Scott. He said, it's Steve. I said, okay, I'm sorry.
You got the first letter right.
Yeah. So I go in there and have a cheeseburger and a couple beers. I come back out. Of course, you know what happened. I couldn't make a putt. If I was standing in the hole, I couldn't have made a putt.
two beers will do it to you.
So Steve comes over to me. He taps me on the shoulder. He said, you're right, Mr. Tribble. He said, it wasn't the putter. It was the man behind it. I said, damn, that's so. I said, Scott was a better caddy than you were. True story.
That's a great story.
Scott was a better caddy.
Scott sounds like a much better caddy.
Yeah, so... No, I've met some nice people, and from all over the world. And golf, it teaches you humility. I mean, when you think you got everything going, you're making money, and people are making over you and all like that. You go into the course,
it'll humble you.
It will.
Not the day Scott was caddying, but at least that round Scott was caddying.
I shot 78 up at Hanover last week.
Look, I'm 53 years old. I started playing when I was 19. The best round I've ever had is 86. Now, I've not played as much as you have, but I played enough to be able to beat 86.
I went down to Hanover, Tuesday, Sunday, and shot 88. So that's easier.
That's a fantastic round for me.
That's easier. Hobbs Hole was so much easier. So short. I had like 6 or 7 double bogeys. I mean, so.
I'd have about 14 double bogeys when I play, but it's all good. Well, Dave, I can't thank you enough for doing this with me.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate your service to our country.
Thank you.
And everything you endured over there. You can't be thanked enough for doing that, and so I definitely want to pass that along to you, and our listeners should be very proud of what you did.
Yeah, thank you. I'm proud. Not many people recognize what people did over there, because most people were against it anyway.
Yeah.
But if you shoot somebody and they're shooting you, it's still war.
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't no politics in that.
No politics involved there.
I wanted to come home.
Yeah. And you made it home.
Yeah, I did. Some of them didn't, and I did. So I never let that go. I never forgot that.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd also really appreciate if you'd rate and review us. You can find us at scodupodcast.com.